hustlers, look up a guy, get on your knees and thank him. And for the smokers, forgive me, Lord, roll up and blaze them. And for the hungry, we coming and we got food to take them. And for the homeless, we got buildings, they ready to make them. This for the hustlers, copper pie if you can bake them. And for the buses, if you can, by all means, shake them. Embrace the haters, without them, you know we be Nathan. Don't be scared of they Freddy's, look, we found Jason. We ain't stopping, that's why I say this is for you. And you can trust us to do it, I know that much is true. And for the people, I give my heart to show us proof. That will be there for you when the sky is no longer blue. It's for the people that don't know how to sing. I'ma represent for the people who don't have a thing. I'ma be that bell that rings to get your angel wings. And I'ma do it for the people by any means. This for the people that don't know how to sing. I'ma represent for the people who don't have a thing. I'ma be that bell that rings to get your angel wings. And I'ma do it for the people by any means. BAE, PJP, 4OZ. Report to you live from the streets. We in the booth right now. We just trying to show y'all we love y'all. We love the streets. That's what we do. That's what we do. This for you. This for the people. This for everybody can eat right here. This for everybody's theme song. When you feel bad, you at home alone, you sad for some reason, what reason at all. You pop this in, listen. It is for you. Just let you know that we coming and y'all coming. We coming together. We gonna fly individually. I'm telling y'all. It's the cure right here. It's the cure of cancer. I found it. I found it. Yeah, I've been looking for a long time, but I found it. No, I've been searching high and low, up and down, left and right, back and forth.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Look. It's your boy. It's your boy. Welcome back to Black Conscious Convo. I am your boy, Chris Diggins. Well, this is where conversation rules the nation and action speaks louder than words. Today, I am with a gifted individual by the name of Bubba Peace, also known as Bushenga, correct?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing today, and how's your mama doing?
You know, it's funny that you said, how am I and how my mom's, because my mom's actually sick right now. She's been sick for a few days, and
Prayers.
thank you. Yeah, and I feel blessed personally because I know my mom has done so much to even give me this opportunity to speak to you today. So,
Amen, amen. Well, once again, shout out mamas, shout out mamas. Look, let's not play. I don't know if people know I do have some of that music going on in the background. Keep us motivated and, you know what I mean, in a space. Look, let's be honest. You are known as Mr. Peace Moves.
Mr. Peace is what some people call me, like the young people, but Peace Medi Moves is the nonprofit I'm working on.
Got you. Peace Medi Moves. I don't want to say anything. I want to make sure I say stuff correctly. I don't want, you know what I mean? Some people don't care about messing up things. You know what I mean?
I know too well.
Along with Wakanda Weekend. Tell us about Wakanda Weekend.
Dope. Yeah, I got you. So Wakanda Weekend is a Black excellence gathering that I do every November, typically the second week of November. And this year is going to be the 5th annual Wakanda Weekend. And
look at you, 5 years.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so the first year, it was actually an opportunity that the Struggle of Love Foundation helped me to put on because they were having a gathering where they gave a whole bunch of tickets to the hood. You know, a lot of kids in Montbello, a lot of families, and they allowed us to see the movie Wakanda Forever together. And I was like, you know what? Let me ride that wave with them because they allowed the community to see this Black excellence film, and I was inspired by the Ride of Joy conference in Kansas City, Missouri. So I was there, I think it was October of 2022, something like that.
The Ride of Joy?
Yeah, Ride of Joy conference in Kansas City, Missouri. So I did a workshop out there, and I came back, and next thing you know, I'm riding this wave, and I'm like, you know what, let's do Wakanda Weekend in tandem with what the Struggle of Love Foundation had going on.
Got you, got you. I have not heard about that. Look, I love learning about new things. That's, once again, I'm not perfect. I am growing consistently every day like everybody else. I love learning. I love growing. I love being able to question. There's things that people will spoon feed you, and then there's things that you will find out on your own. We've been having some great conversations since the start of you getting here. You how's your day going so far? Like this is my setup, my guy. Like, I don't want people to think that we out here being perfect, but how do you feel today? Like, honestly.
Honestly, I feel blessed. I just put out an article on my Substack, and the thought behind it was, what happens when you get protesters to pray together? And I released that article because I felt compelled to share with people the fact that we have protests all around the country right now, and that's very radical, angry sometimes, sad sometimes energy. So what happens when you just sit with other people's anger and other people's sadness and sit with the thing that is immovable, which is a tree?
Oh yeah. Look. Where'd you get the name Bubba? Bubba Peace.
My dad. So my dad, he was like, hey, you know what? He gave me all types of nicknames, like Beaver Boy, Buck Stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like Penis Head. Like so
Shout out, Dad.
yeah, that was in Montbello, 5104 Carson Street. I remember one time I was walking home with one of my best friends. I was like, look, my dad just called, and I put the voicemail on, and he was like, hey, Penis Head, happy birthday. Hey, man, I just want to let you know I love you.
I can dig that. I can dig that. Parents play a pivotal role in our lives that a lot of us don't realize, especially like you being out in Montbello / Green Valley Ranch area. One of the things that we was talking about earlier is how we was bad out in Montbello, but we also didn't realize that our parents was also buying homes in Montbello. Like, a lot of the parents out there bought home. Like, just because we was black out there, yeah, some of us was renting, but a lot of us was buying homes. And it was like, we didn't realize that we wasn't ghetto until we left this bitch to a place that was ghetto. Like, I remember when I went to college in Atlanta, I seen the ghetto. You know what I mean? That was like my official. Like, we went to Sacramento and I seen the Garden Block and I was like, oh my God, it's nice over there. But at the same time, there were parts that weren't nice. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't take us to those parts. They took us to the part that was nice and all of these things. Like, but when it came to me officially leaving and growing up and getting out of Colorado, I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and I didn't know that niggas was living with cardboard, like, not even just cardboard. It was wood planks on the windows. And some folks had wood planks as doors with rope pulling that thing closed, and they had ways to seal it from when they got in there. Like, there was things that I just did not know how people lived, honestly. And then, like, you're from
Oakland.
So you come from where there's a real hood. Like, when it comes to being out here and being from Oakland, do you notice that we're kind of bougie?
Absolutely.
Because we know that, like, we can go anywhere. Like, you ever notice that? We know we can go anywhere. We can go downtown. We can go to the mountains. We can go anywhere in the state of Colorado, and we be like, and it's black folks. Like, for real. Like, we don't think about that like that. But when you get into other states, you can't go over there. And they go, why? And they be like, because white folks will say something if you come over here. Like, and that's the honesty of the truth. Like, we're so arrogant sometimes out here. Like, we believe we know about the world. And a lot of us ain't left this place. So it's like, does that help you or hinder when you're doing the work that you're doing, especially as an artist out here? Like,
My biggest thought around anything as it relates to Denver and black folks is we need to learn to work together. And I feel it really doesn't matter if we're in Montbello, Green Valley, right here in Welton. The reason why gentrification has been successful is we weren't passing education from homeowners to the next generation. So if you have grandparents, I had two grandparents, they lived in both areas. They lived by East High School because I went to East like my dad. And then you also have people selling houses because they see the opportunities in Montbello. So it's like my grandparents were those folks that they bought a house in Montbello, and when they passed away, the house gets sold, and now all of a sudden there's a legacy that is somewhat lost because we're not teaching the value of you have a house, then you can have a block. If you have a block, then you have continuity. When you have continuity, you have community.
oh, look, let's not play with that one. Like, for real. You said something that really hit home right there, that continuity. A lot of people out here, when it comes to like the east side, I know a lot of people got caught up in something I say are the RICO law things, basically. So a lot of the people that got caught up in RICO were also paying the bills, and the people that were left out were the ones that were the alcoholics, the drug users, and those in between that weren't used to paying bills. So when the people that took care of business went to prison, and grandma and them were had to pay taxes on that house that they owned, a lot of people didn't know that those taxes were building up as much as they were, and they just let the house get taken because they weren't used to paying bills. So if you have individuals that aren't used to paying bills and aren't, as you said, educated enough to know why you pay the bills, then you have things getting taken away from us. And a lot of this stuff got taken away or talked out of us because there was a whole time frame from like 2000 to 2010 where they were like, we'll buy your house for cash. We'll buy your house for cash. And people was like, okay. Some people was making dirty deals. They didn't have the deed to the home to make the deal, but they were still trying to make the deal. That was some of the things that allowed for gentrification to happen down here. Now, I can't speak on other cities. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the hardest things for me to do is just be like, oh, this is why this happened over there. But I knew the niggas that went to jail in the RICO because we all almost got caught up in the RICO if you didn't have things like tax returns and stuff like that. I know that was one of the only things that helped get me through a RICO situation. Besides, as I told you, making a deal with the devil. Is it hard being you with all these things occurring that don't naturally occur in so, like, not to use other major cities as an example, we don't have the crime that a lot of major cities have, but we have crime. Does that help or hinder your progress when it comes to teaching the youth how to balance themselves in the midst of temptation?
Truthfully, I think anytime you have the heart to help the youth, that's always going to be the most valid experience. So I do my best to just say I didn't experience the hardships in Oakland. I experienced my hardships in Montbello, right? So I was a young person. I stole, I did different things and smoked weed and
Made
had
mistakes.
those. Yeah, I did all those different things. It's just once I realized, okay, well now people are breaking into my car after I got a job at Elitch's and I started paying my own bills, and now there's somebody. I lived right next door to Bloods on 5104 Carson, and it's
Gotcha.
like you start to realize, okay, if my dad left at 2 p.m. and I get home at 4 p.m., somebody planned to break into my vehicle within that 2 hour span because we were pretty consistent with our routine. And I share that story because when I help young people, it's really based on my heart to do that, but it's also based on I stole, I did all these things too, but it's always going to come back to you. So would I rather steal or would I do push-ups and just get stronger and start doing kicks and act like Goku?
You know, you use that analogy. Look, let's not play. Um, when I see people that like try to bash anime watchers and things like that, or like don't grasp anime in general, I don't think people understand that there is so much energy within that individual that if they really could pull off a fucking Kamehameha, they would pull off a Kamehameha on somebody so like, and people just be like, oh, I don't think they understand that that person has so much control within them instead of hitting you with all of that energy physically. Like you could hit somebody with all that energy physically, but they was like, I seen a kid just jump back on a dude and be like, oh, Kamehameha. And I'm sitting there like, everybody's sitting there laughing at the dude, and I'm sitting there like, that dude would have almost knocked that person's block off if he would have hit him with that. Like in general, energy wise, if he would have hit that person physically, he would have knocked the dog stew out of that person. So don't underestimate somebody that pulled themselves away to do a Kamehameha or hi you or anything like that, because once again, if we learned ourselves that intimately, energy wise, there are things that we could pull off that we just once again would be just like as Jesus said, you can do the same things that I can do, if not greater. And that's one of the things that I blows my mind that people just blow that off like that. Now, you also go by Bushenga. Who gave you that name?
I did.
Okay, how'd you get? What made you come up with that name, or how did you get that name? Or
It was a matter of having tough conversations with my relatives after I went through some trials in 2016. I graduated college from Kansas State University at that time, and that was one good thing, but in that same time period, I dealt with.
graduation college.
Thank you.
Graduated from college. Let's put that in there. Graduated from college. What was your major?
American Ethnic Studies with the minor in Women's Studies.
Oh, look at you. Go ahead. I apologize.
Oh, you're good. So, yeah, I went through some trials at that same time, and I started to ask very tough questions to my mother and myself. One of the questions was, "Who is my father?" So, I have my dad, who he stepped in when there were no other men, and then there's my father, who I always knew his first name, but I didn't know his last name. So I asked my mother, "Who is my father?" And when she gave me that answer, I went on this Facebook search and I found somebody with his name. However, his name was the same as his son. So he named his other son, or one of his other sons, after him. And so I met my brother before I met him. And then eventually I started talking about just my journey. He connected me to our father, and I learned that my father's mother was a Black Panther. And I combined that knowledge with my
Deep.
yeah, I combined that knowledge with my mother's father, who's traveling to Kibera at that time, and I didn't understand. I didn't know that he was going to Kibera, Kenya, but I just started to ask God, well, who am I? Because at the end of the day, everything in my bloodline, whether it was my mother's side or my father's side, they focused on community development. So I decided to rename myself because I'm like, well, I love what I do. I love what I represent. I keep building community. I am Bushenga. I am the Black Panther. I am the thing that people want to see. I have the heart to do the work. It's just I need my opportunity.
That within itself, I'm not even gonna lie to you, is a similar conversation I had to have with myself. Growing up, my grandfather always told my mom and just our whole family. My grandfather was streetwise. He ran the streets, but he worked hard. You know what I mean? Like, he had 2 jobs. My grandmother didn't ever have to work. He worked 2 jobs. He was a faithful man. He was a Jehovah's Witness, but at the same time, he would do things like, I'm not coming over for Christmas, but I'll come over for dinner. For real. But in general, he was a pioneer for him and everything. But once again, he couldn't read. He taught himself to read by reading the Bible and just reading the newspaper. He said, if I couldn't sound out the words, he said, I wouldn't know what to talk about. But staying on focus with the conversation, he used to tell my mom and them, if you want that boy to stop acting bad, tell him who his daddy is. I knew who my pops was, who was there, which I didn't give him the respect that he deserved, even though I never called him my stepdad. He was pops. I never said that he wasn't my dad. I just said, I know you not supposed to be the one whooping me. And it was like that lie made me angrier when they didn't answer the question. And I knew that my grandfather told them, this is how you fix this problem. And they didn't listen. So me going through my whole life angry, teaching people how to destroy stuff, as I told you, me getting suspended in kindergarten for being the first person that people heard call another girl a B. I'm like, in my mid-30s, and all of a sudden God answers that question. My cousin, who is my dad's niece, who is Senator David Lucas, the first Black congressman out of Macon, Georgia. Yeah, senator out of Macon, Georgia. 40-something years. You know what I mean? It's amazing that she just happened to reach out on Facebook. That's when I had Facebook. I don't have Facebook no more. But she reached out. I verbally assassinated her in text, in Instagram. Facebook Messenger. I said, well, if you know who my daddy is, show me my baby picture. That's where my baby picture was. I had never seen a baby picture of myself, ever. I used to think I just popped up in the world at 5th grade. Like, oh, here you are at 5 years old, because that's where all my pictures started, at 5 years old. I don't have no younger pictures than that. Everybody else in my family does. I don't have no pictures. All my pictures started at 5 years old from kindergarten. And when I found out who my dad was, honestly, everything just like poured into me of all the wrongs that I did just to get that answer. And I realized every destructive thing in every person, from kindergarten to high school to after high school, that I motivated destructive ways and personalities and things like that with, all because of one question. And at first I wanted to kill myself. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I wanted to die because I said, I am the evilest fucker on the planet. Like, that's what I thought of myself. I was the evilest fucker on the planet. And I knew, because like I said, I made that deal. I made that deal to be destructive because of that one fucking question. My pride allowed me to be envious and angry envious of gang members because I heard a gang member say to a teacher, if you don't shut the fuck up, I'll kill you. And I wanted that power because I wanted to be able to control everything that I couldn't control. And that's crazy that you say that because, like, you know what I mean? I don't know how did it, when you got your answer about who your dad was, did it open gates for you, right? So it's crazy that you said that. Like, that is so powerful. And we don't realize how powerful that is just knowing that information. Wow, that was so deep. Crazy. Look, for real, like, you know what I mean? Like, this was not planned out conversation. Like, this is all, look, I told
you it would just roll, right?
Yeah, look, this is, woo, you talking about generational curses being broken, y'all, like, for real.
That's the point I wanted to make, right? Because imagine, I'll add this to the story. Imagine my mother had not spoken to my granddad, so her father, the one that goes back and forth to Kibera, Kenya, which is the poorest slum in Africa, and they hadn't spoken for a number of years until I asked my mother, hey, can your father attend my daughter's 4th birthday party? And she sat with it, and she said yes. So there was this moment where, for the first time in a number of years, you could see my mother in a picture with her mother and technically her parents and my daughter and my 3 siblings from two siblings from my mother's side. So that was the first time in my life where we actually had a generational photo, and it took almost 30 years for that to happen.
Wow, shout out breaking generational curses, y'all. Like, let's not play. And for those of y'all that don't recognize, understand, the work has to be continuous. We have to continue putting in the work. It is not something that you just, I went to therapy for a whole year. Okay, are you continuing to do the work? Do you have somebody that you could be open and honest and have true conversation with, and then them not judge you through your conversation, them actually listen and respond mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally with empathy, being able to put themselves in your shoes so that they can comprehend what you've gone through, so that they can acknowledge you in a whole response and not just be, oh, fuck that shit. Like, you ever notice how a lot of dudes be like, well, when you hit them in a conversation and you know that you're speaking on a higher level, they'll hit you with some, well, at least I'm getting some pussy. Like, what does that got to do with some shit? Like, my dude, that's some lower level energy.
They say comparison is the thief of joy for a reason.
Oh, there you go. Look, dropping bombs just like that. Like, let's not play. Look, you're an artist, you're a father, you're a healer. Walk us through that.
I'll start with the healer piece, because even within that statement, I am only healing myself. And within healing myself and my lineage and not running from the responsibility of raising my daughter, that is allowing me to be a father. That is allowing me to say, you know what? I might not have been successful in my marriage with her mother, or there were successes, but I didn't maintain my responsibilities as a man and a husband. I didn't know how to do that with the communication skills that were needed. I didn't know how to be an emotional grounding force for the family that I created. So
you are you're
32.
You are very responsible with holding yourself accountable in this conversation. I'm there are individuals that are your age that definitely don't acknowledge what you're acknowledging at your level. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, you're good. And I just share those things because, I mean, if we think about what does it mean to really be a healer and or a father, I mean, one of the hardest things that I've ever had to deal with was hearing my 3-year-old daughter say that she wanted to kill herself.
Wow, that is deep.
Right. So I had to deal with that, and within healing myself, one of the most healing things that occurred was 2 Sundays ago. So February 1st, 2026, my daughter Oya Irie had the option, because we do meditation together. So I gave her the option to say however many things she wanted to be grateful for, that she wanted to. And she was like, well, do I have to do 6 or 7? I was like, no, do however many you want to. Lo and behold, while I played my sound bowl, she said over 100 things that she was grateful for when she had the option.
Let's not play. You know what I mean? That's a child. And when a child can say what they're grateful for, we underestimate, once again, we underestimate the power of children. Like I said, I know my anger was fueled by the do as I say, not as I do mentality that a lot of functioning parents, that's what I call it. It's functioning parents that say those things. They don't really know how to parent. And that's one of the things where you're breaking that generational curse, like I said, for you to be accountable to these things at your age. I told my son, I said, look, buddy, I want you to wait till you're 30 to get married. And he goes, why should I wait that long, Dad? And I said, because I don't want you to have any excuses from the time that you graduate from high school for at least a decade to say that you were in complete control of your life. And that is one of the things that I am grateful and thankful for is that my son didn't even attempt to get married until he was 30. He got married and he's working on having children, and I'm grateful and thankful for that because I didn't want to be a young grandparent. I didn't want to be a grandfather before he still ain't made no babies yet, and I'm not in my 50s yet, but I'm grateful and thankful. You know what I mean? So when I get there, I want to still be able to be like, okay, let's go outside, and I may not be able to fully take off with them. You know what I mean? But I'll be able to run with them. I'll be able to hang out with them because I'm taking care of myself. I'm on a 90-day cleanse. I don't know if I told you that, but I stop at the beginning of the year. I sacrifice for God sugar, marijuana, caffeine, because those are my addictions. When it comes to the world, I'm not perfect. I just know that those are my addictions, and I will sacrifice anything to let God know that they lead my life, and I am here every day because of their move into my life. Like I've had several instances where God would come in my life and go, let me try to get you out of that. And I'd be like, let me go back into this. You know what I mean? For real. Like, you know what I mean? God has, there are a lot of things that God moved me away from. Being an artist or being a music producer who went to Atlanta from Colorado in the 90s, late 90s. I was at the last Freaknik. You know what I mean? I was invited to puffy parties that weren't puffy parties. They were other people in the industry's parties. I've walked away from all of those through the strength of God. Like, I could have participated. I've been tempted in all forms, shapes, and manners. And for some reason, I have walked away from all of those things. I met Lil Jon, like when it came to being a producer, I met Lil Jon the first 2 weeks I was in Atlanta through a guy that was visiting a girl at the school that, well, we was in the dorms. So at the dorms that we was in, I would do things like have people in the room in our apartment singing all together in like rounds, and they was like, who got this going? And that was just something that I did. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was something great, but they was like, do you know how creative you're being? And I'm like, I never grasped any of this stuff till after Yahweh entered my life fully. My family telling me and my friends telling me that I'm a great producer. I'm sitting there, I don't think I'm making all these. But when Yahweh entered, it was like, man, these people didn't have to tell me those things. And I'm grateful and thankful for knowing those things right there and being able to say thank you for encouraging me now to being a better person in general. And having the mind to know that I fucked up and I got to do better daily. So I'm grateful and thankful for those things. When it comes to the show, I do like different categories. I talk about sports, entertainment, new technology, and video games. A lot of people don't pay attention to all the sports in Colorado. When you're from Colorado, the only time you pay attention is to Colorado sports. We really are stuck up about Colorado. We are. I told you. We're some bougie motherfuckers. Like, let's not play. Like, we're arrogant in so many different ways that we need to humble ourselves in. How do you deal with our arrogance? Like, for real. Like, once again, even though you was in Montbello and on the east side, you see that there is a level of arrogance that we have that is just, whoo. How do you?
I just got to shout out July real quick, because July, she has a song called Arrogant, and that's the first thing I thought of when you were saying that stuff. And I think for me, I actually have a song called I Don't Hate, and it's a Raider Bronco anthem, and I released this on SoundCloud maybe 5 years ago with my buddy Exhale Then Breathe. But he's a really dope artist, but he's also an electrician, right? So imagine you got an electrician working with, let's just call me at that time civil servant. And
Got you.
so I mean, God knows I have too many hats, so that's why I just let the hair fly. But,
right? Look.
So exhale.
Something for the people.
Like, you can't call me a pastor because I ain't gonna do it they way. I'm gonna curse. I'm gonna say what I need to say to get people to move and shake. But anyway,
that's it. I mean, you say it like that, but unfortunately, like when it comes to a lot of these preachers and pastors nowadays, one of the things that I've noticed is that they fear dying and going to Yahweh, knowing that, you know what I mean, if you was to die right now, you'd accept because you stood on something and you know exactly where you're going. Whereas too many people are so caught up in the flesh, we don't realize that this is just a vessel. This is just a vessel. One of the things that helped me to understand that was an anime, The Immortal King, The Immortal Emperor, on Crunchy. I don't know but if you get the chance to watch it, you know what I mean? There is this energy within us. Oh, and Hell's Paradise. There's this energy within us, for real, that we don't know is bigger than our bodies. That's bigger than our flesh. And until we learn how to access that, we're going to constantly think of the flesh and be of the flesh and worry so much about the flesh.
That kind of, you mentioned anime, so I think it kind of relates to Shaman King, right?
Oh my gosh, let's not even play about Shaman King.
So there's a lot of spiritual energy.
Woo!
But I do want to to tap back into that arrogance piece, because like when I think about I don't hate, for example, me and somebody who he likes the Broncos, but exhale then breathe, his role is a parent first. That's what I've always loved about my buddy Zach. It's not just, oh well, I'm gonna be the best artist in the world. No, Zach, he puts his role as a father and as a husband into his everyday being, and people follow his leadership. And I tell Zach every time I see him, I'm like, one day I just want to grow up and be you, because at the end of the day, a man that can take care of his family can at some point help the village. But I'm kind of similar to my granddad in that I want to help the village before I help the family.
And once again though, that being able to acknowledge that, well, first shout out to Zach for being that inspiration in your life. But being that individual is hard work. And once again, to comprehend, you have to help yourself before you can help everyone. There's nothing wrong with you helping another person, right? That's one person. But when you try to take on the world or try to take on the hood, you know what I mean? Like it's a lot to bear, especially for anyone entering your life. They have to accept that not only do you belong to them, but at the same time, you belong to them, you belong to Yahweh, you belong to the universe. And that is something that I know a lot of people, when they get into relationships, don't grasp, is the acceptance part. Is that something relationship-wise that we all can take notes from, that you stated learning from Zach?
I think it's both, because when you think about Buddha, for example, he had to leave his family so he could serve the masses.
Oh, yeah.
And the same thing with Gandhi. And unfortunately, Gandhi's son, from the knowledge that I got, he ended up having some emotional turmoil from him not having access to his father, yet his father helped millions of people. So if we think about some of the sacrifices as a community leader, it's like, well, do you absolutely follow your heart to serve the people, and maybe some of the time that you could have spent with your children, maybe that's a part of our suffering. And I do see that dichotomy exists, but I learned to breathe through that pain, or train through that pain, because I was the first person to hold my daughter. And not only was I the first person to hold my daughter, but I have been writing to her since the day she was born. You know, I have a notebook, and I make sure to write every couple months at the very least, and I let her know this is kind of what's going on, but here are some tools to help you navigate this world if I'm not around you.
That is excellent to hear, my guy. Like, me as a parent, my son became everything. Like, people don't think about empty nester syndrome. So it wasn't like, oh, my son went off and did his thing. I put my son into the military after he wanted to do a gap year and after high school. And I was like, all right, do your gap year. I said, but after your gap year, hopefully you figure something out. Didn't figure anything out. And it wasn't like I could sit there and be like, I'm going to whoop you or I'm going to beat you up. I can't tell you those things after you've turned 18. Like, that don't make no sense, you know what I mean, as a parent. So I said, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to put you in the Air Force. He goes, but what if I want to go to the Army? I said, you can't fight. He goes, well, what does that mean, Dad? I said, you can't fight. I said, I can put you in the Air Force. I said, but if I put you in the Army may break you. And I said, if I put you in the Marines or the Navy, I said, I know they'll break you. I said, because the Navy and the Marines are pretty much the same company. I said, but the Air Force, I said, you can do the Air Force. I said, just physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. I said, you can do the Air Force. I said, because you're really smart. And he was. He was able to do the Air Force. That's one of the things that I'm grateful and thankful for is him acknowledging that there was something that he couldn't do and there was an alternate. And me, myself, knowing that I could have had like multiple women in his life, multiple baby mamas. You know what I mean? I could have had those things, but I didn't choose to have those things. I chose my son every day. You know what I mean? Like I chose not to be those things. I was still destructive in those other areas only because once again, I was good at hustling. And there were times where I felt like as the dope man that like if you had kids, I had rules to you buying dope for me. Like you got to take care of your kids first. You got to, if your kids need shoes, you got to go buy your kids shoes. I'll take you to go buy your kids some shoes before I sell you some dope. And I hook you up in general so that you can buy your kids some shoes, or if you got to go get groceries or any of those things. I thought that I was doing the good thing, even though I was selling them crack, and it's like you're still playing with people's desire, and that's the thing. You're still playing. You're acknowledging that they have a desire that you can manipulate them to do what you want them to do, not them be strong enough to say through temptation I stayed strong. It's not that, oh, you go to the strip club and listen to the music. People go, oh, but you're watching all that. You can go to the strip club, listen to the music, and not be tempted by everything in front of you because you have that strength. But there are people that don't believe that you could do those things. And I'm sitting there going, Jesus walked in the hood, stood tall in the hood, and still, whenever Jesus needed the folks from the hood, he was like, hey, Paul, you got your swords?
But to that point, that's why I'm doing Breaking Bread, because I've realized a lot of those temptations. I've been through that, and at the same time, I'm now working with really great people in the community, such as Ahava and Bookman Bird, and these folks are constantly innovating, not just through their own ideas, but we were willing to, without knowing each other for 30 years, maybe in the flesh, we probably had known each other many lifetimes, honestly. But
right.
I feel like
that part right there.
Yeah, it's like if you can get 3 grown adults, 3 black folks, and we have this other lady who's white and she's been organizing, and there's another lady I met that's white that she's really dope and she's helping us organize this latest one. Shout out to Nikki. But it's like if we can organize here on Park Ave and help these folks that are displaced with free meals, then we can also combine that with what the Black Panthers did and organize with food and get our young people to participate in AI playgrounds and martial arts and tutoring.
Reading.
So exactly, and that's the thing. That's why I was mentioning this. It's like Breaking Bread. That's what we are doing. We are reading. I'm watching these kids as they talk about the stories of their name, and it's like I'm seeing the misspellings and all of that, and I'm like, okay, this is data for me. And whether we talk about it or not, it's like if a 9 and 10-year-old is having spelling issues, to me that's a problem. Especially if these kids went to Omar D. Blair, and it's like Omar D. Blair is the school that I was not allowed to go to because they had an enrollment issue way back in the day, 20 plus years ago.
Gotcha.
And I'm coming back to my roots, and I see, okay, this school is named after a black pioneer who helped all types of young people in Denver, Colorado. He went to the military. He modeled excellence. Why are the kids that attend the school named after a black man not able to write their own names and have articulate sentences by the time they're in 4th and 5th grade?
It's comprehension. Like a lot of people don't grasp that there are so many functioning adults, especially in our community. Like, shout out to the white women that do help, that do want to be, like, I got an aunt who married a dark-skinned black man in the late 70s, early 80s. late in the mid 70s. Look, we'll say that. So, you know what I mean? Like, no, it had to be like in early 70s because they've been married a long time. So, in the South. So, you know what I mean? Like, blue hair, blonde eyed, white woman, married, and knowing that they could be killed for it. For them to step into that situation and know that both of them could die for just being together is a powerful thing. And a lot of people don't grasp. It takes a lot of strength for a white woman, you know what I mean, who were known to be the worst slave owners when it came to slavery, when it comes to being racist. Like, a majority of that is inbred because of that, because a lot of people don't grasp the role of the mother. And to see that there are those that do get it and that help, that is excellent. So shout out to the ones that,
especially my grandma. I'll tell you, hey, Grandma Laura, hey, you know, this for you. You are the biggest supporter I have ever had in this lifetime, and I absolutely thank you for funding and loving without conditions everything that I've ever done in this life. She became a grandmother at 33 years old. So you think about, you know, what you mentioned earlier about,
oh yeah, being a young grandmother.
She was 33.
My mama was about to be 40 when my son was born. And she said, she called me every name in the book but a child of God till my son was born. When my son was born, she was like, my first grandbaby. But for real. But in general, like, I didn't even, honestly, I did not know my baby mama. I couldn't even tell you how my baby mama came in my life. Do you understand? Like, I was toe up drunk. Like, we was getting high and drunk that whole day when my son was conceived. Like, I told my son that, and I said, but you are the blessing that came from that, because I would have never graduated from high school. I would have never focused on graduating from high school, because I said, how can I tell my son to go to school and I'm a fucking failure? How can I tell my son that he needs to be a better person and I'm a failure at being a better person every day? Like, I wasn't going to do that. Do as I say, not as I do. So it was the best thing that I could try to do was try to be an example. And I used to do things like, he'd be like, what is you smoking, Dad? That's not the same as Grandpa's cigarette. I said, I know. This is cigar weed. And he'd be like,
That's crazy. Cigar weed.
He was like, what's cigar weed? I said, it's a different brand of cigarette that Grandpa doesn't smoke. But it wasn't a lie. It was just, I named it different. That's all it was. I named it different. So, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to lie to my son. I never, there's not a lie that he can tell you I told him, period. Unless it was, where are you going right now? And I was leaving to sell dope, and I'd say, I'm going to work. You know what I mean? But I wasn't going to work. I was.
That was your job.
I mean, as a hustler, I mean, I was still working in in healthcare. When I was working, you work 3 days on, 3 days off. So I could work and be hustling a long time till the next time I had to go back to work. And people be like, well, why would you? We're not even going to talk about, just once again, pride allowing me to be envious of what I was able to accomplish mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Excuse me. Look, going into getting this sports section out of the way, the Nuggets are in the middle of a gauntlet. We've got the Warriors coming up on Sunday, the 22nd. I know you're not a fan of Colorado. You are a fan of the Warriors.
I would say, believe it or not, I just don't hate. Like, if the Nuggets are about to win a championship, go Nuggets. If they're playing the Warriors, go Warriors. If I know that it's a lost year for the Warriors, go Nuggets. That's where I am.
I can dig that, though. Like, I mean, like, what you like. There's nothing wrong with liking something. once again, we have to understand everything in moderation. You know what I mean?
And the Joker, I mean, best center to ever play that I've seen.
There you go, right
Period.
there. Bubba, you know energy. When the Nuggets play primetime teams, how do you feel about that energy?
They got to win.
That's
the
it.
bottom line.
All right, we know the Avalanche right now. Avs are going to be coming off that long Olympic break for this week, right? Their next team they play is on February 26th. They're playing the Minnesota Wild. Do you talk hockey at all, or do you see like the energy of hockey? Like you see how they get to knock each other out?
When I first saw a hockey game, it was the San Jose Sharks, and it was probably the best hockey experience I could have. It's the only one that I have, but it was so cool because a hat trick happened, and
Oh wow!
yeah, a hat trick happened. Several fights happened, so I got the full experience at least in that moment because
To know what hockey was.
right, it's like people are throwing their hats, and then it's like, oh, they donate that, yeah, and then all of a sudden these guys are fighting. It's like, well, that's healthy masculinity. Like if you
That's
just got
it.
beef, okay, let's settle this shit right now. Let's get it over with.
That's one of the things I do respect about the state of Texas. If two individuals get into an argument and they want to duke it out, they can duke it out as long as them two are not totally assaulting each other. Like if you're trying to break the other guy's jaw and break the other person's arm, like that's not a fight. That is that's you being angry. But if you get into a fight and you knock one person out, accept the loss, shake the man's hand, be like, all right, you and go on about your business. You know what I
But
mean?
that's, to me, that's healthy masculinity
That
because we're not some passive, and this is where I think when it comes, especially for black men, but men in general, it's like we don't have to act as if we don't have testosterone. You know, praying and doing meditation, that stuff is beautiful, but no,
You also have to be able to exercise that energy.
you and the ways that we can do it in my mind are martial arts and sports. Those are the purest ways to get the most joy and the most discipline, and you can learn through teams or you can learn through some genuine ass whoopings every now and then.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was one of those individuals that practiced that wholeheartedly on the wrong groups of people, especially when it came to police officers. Yeah, that's how I know it takes 6 of them. But you know what I mean? It shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Like in general, like there are things that you shouldn't know. You know what I mean? In general. But at the same time though, you should know that one, you can defend yourself. Two, that you can put that energy into something positive, as you said, regardless of if it is you in a ring with somebody or if it's you in the gym. Sometimes the gym is kind of spooky in today's times. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some of y'all in the gym is not right, especially guy-wise. A lot of y'all are pretending masculinity and doing other things, but we're not gonna talk about all of that. In general, moving on to the mammoth. I'm not really into the mammoth or such movements, but for Colorado sports reasons, we got the mammoth. We're just in Toronto with The Rock last night. Basically the Mammoth are on a roll. Let's just go ahead and say that. The Mammoth are on a roll. We gonna keep moving forward because once again, it's just the Mammoth. They're new. You know what I mean? We'll see what they do in a couple of years if they're still here in a couple of years. So, you know what I mean? Like, let's just be honest. When it comes to tech, though, how do you feel about technology right now?
As I was taking the Uber that you graciously got for me so I could do this interview with you, and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I want to shout out Barry, my Uber driver. He was an amazing man, but he showed me some songs that he had made via AI for his wife for Valentine's Day. And
That's excellent.
it's funny.
Shout out, shout out AI.
So there's, this over 70-year-old gentleman from Buffalo, New York, and he shows me these really amazing songs, and he's been married to his wife for 46 years, and I think about that, and he said, so you do music, right? And I'm like, yep. So within this music thing, if I was your age, I'd be afraid to be an artist knowing that AI can make songs for you. And I asked him, I was like, but Barry, let me ask you this. How often do you pray? And he gave me an answer that lasted at least 18 minutes. And he arrived at Welton Street, and the summation of his stories was that we need to ride the energy bus. And the energy bus is a book by John, I can't remember his last name. However, the energy bus thematically is the wave of positivity. And when we think about riding positivity, a prayer is positivity. A prayer is compassion. A prayer is something that distinguishes what technology is versus what humanity is. Humanity is a collection of prayers, and we all have opportunities to do good or we can do not good. So when I think about technology, the biggest thing to me is do good with technology as technology can do good for humanity.
I'm glad you said it that way because, right now in Africa, there are a lot of things going on when it comes to cures for HIV and finding out how to make plants into power, using plants to make energy. Are we teaching our kids in general to use plant energy and the energy around them to do better with themselves in our lives, or or can we do better at it? Like, we already know that global warming is real, but at the same time, though, we also know that there are people manipulating the situations. Are we teaching this stuff, or can we do better? Like, I've seen someone that you share who is doing an AI school and a virtual reality school, and they're being able to put things on virtual reality, and I see that, and I think that's so genius.
Ahava Essence Bay is the founder of King Kairos University, and what's really cool about Ahava is she's been through the conversation internally as a parent of, I have children, I love who I am and what I represent. How do I combine what I love, which is being a parent, with how the world is evolving? And she created King Kairos University to honor her journey with her son Cairo. And it's really amazing to see this 7-year-old boy do his programming and his education on his mom's platform. And he, lo and behold, doesn't even know it's, or he might know to some effect, but it's like, this is him. It's like he is building his own world. His mother is the channel, and so many of our children can be a part of this process if they sign up on the website.
Shout out King Cairo.
Yeah.
Look, let's not play. We want to give props where props is due. That's one of the things that I love, is showing people that through all the things that you go through, as long as you don't give up. I used to just say fuck it and go right back to the streets all the time. Now I'm not giving up. I'm not afraid to fail. It was just I always went back to what I knew. And that's the thing, is to stop doing what you used to do to become better.
And I'll add this: I wrote a mastery mantra, and two of the mantras in there are failure is another step towards success, and then right after that, build the community you want, because we know when we're in a community that teaches us a behavior that we're not interested in or that's hindering us from being a loving human, we have to grow a new village. Hence, it took me all of my actions, it took you all of your actions before we could even have this conversation.
Man, oh man, we had to go through what we had to go through to get here. That's why when you said earlier the same thing that my guy Ethan Hunt said, I'm not trying, I'm doing. Thank you for that, because it is it's this is something that I'm doing. Nobody's telling me to do it, nobody's making me do it. I'm not, and I try to make sure that it's not something that I'm doing out of pride. I'm doing this so that I can grow and learn more from people. That's my main thing. I need to grow. I like growing, and people help me grow. Um, I've grown through conversations. I've grown through meeting all the people. Like, people don't grasp everything and anything comes through the emergency room. Anything and everything comes through the emergency room. When you're coming into this world, guess where you're coming into? Unless your parents want to do this at home, you're coming through the emergency room.
And two, just to make a quick note between my grandmother and my daughter's mother, my grandmother, Laura, she had my mother in her own bedroom without any medical assistance. So that's a white woman giving birth to a black girl by herself.
And that's, once again, that's a miracle, because being able to do that at home is not easy.
In 1979 at that.
Woo!
So
Oh yeah,
there's
that's
that.
when they had house mothers. What? I can't remember the name that they used to call them back then, but it was house midwives.
Yeah,
Excuse me,
midwives.
There.
So to some effect, so yeah, even with my daughter's mother, we weren't in a hospital. We were in a birthing center.
Yeah,
So we just
midwife.
had basically a midwife, and once again, she was a white woman, and my daughter's mom, she was going back and forth between the little device that you use to hold and give some energy,
Yeah. Oh.
and then the tub, and she just kept going back and forth until she knew it was like the moment. She went into the tub and she did her thing, and next thing you know, the midwife kind of brings me closer, and she's like, "All right, she's about to come," and Oya Irie,
Oh,
Nakali, Aaron Ali was in my hands.
Oh, woo. We're not. Ooh. That's why that wasn't my department. I'm just let you know. That department was not my department. The NICU, the ICU, all of those are not my department, because I can't watch children suffer. You know what I mean? I can't watch people suffer. You know what I mean? When I heard the story about the nurse that was in NICU and she was breaking the children's arms and stuff.
Really?
That hurt my heart like so much, that there was a person that worked in healthcare like that. One of the things that I know is going on in tech is in Nigeria. They're developing a neural chip that can smell bombs like dogs. When it comes to mindfulness and being a mindfulness coach, how do you think AI is going to help us when it comes to being more mindfulness? Or mindful, excuse me.
I think technology has the ability to facilitate different realities and experiences that we desire. So it doesn't have to be a complex situation, but if you turn on your device, whether it's your phone, your laptop, or something like that, and you put on frequencies, as long as there's this moment where you're like, okay, I feel dysregulated. Because I feel dysregulated, I am giving myself gratitude and compassion because I feel there's a disruption in my internal unit, and I don't know if I have the tools physically right now to calm myself down. Let me use this awareness in this moment to put on some version of music or sound that is meant to get me in my equilibrium. And when you're back in equilibrium, now you've already given yourself a version of compassion to say, I'm not going to continue acting in a dysregulated way. I'm grateful that I even had the awareness to know I was dysregulated, and I'm even more grateful that there's this technology which allowed me to be more in tune with where I want to exist and operate for the future.
I can dig that. How do you feel about video? How do you feel about video games?
When I had a certain amount of money, not a lot of money, but just enough money, I bought myself a Nintendo Switch 3DS, the second version, and I immediately got Pokemon because I know that that is one of my regulating technologies is Pokemon and video games.
I can dig that. I am an open world guy. I love games like Grand Theft Auto. I'm passionately waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6 to come out. I am Red Dead Redemption 2. I love the peace and serenity that you can get while having your headphones on and just sitting out in the middle of nowhere, and the only thing you'll hear is a train pass by. Every once in a while, you'll hear the train. But beyond that, you hear nothing but nature and your horse, if you have a horse sitting there with you. But you know what I mean? Like, there are times where I've just sat by the lake fishing in Red Dead Redemption 2 and been at peace. You know what I mean?
That's in Green Valley Ranch, though. To be honest, it's like we have the light rail. There's a big horse ranch on 56, and then to the east of Pena or west of Pena Boulevard, there's this little creek, and that's where I go to do exactly what you said you do on Red Dead Redemption, but I do it in the immediate neighborhood, and then when I see a lot of times black people sitting there, we end up having these type of conversations.
Just that peace, right? Do you think there's a game that's come out about black people going and taking back the artifacts that have been stolen from Africa? Do you think that's a better way to game than to have people just out murdering and robbing and shoot like in Grand Theft Auto and things like that?
What I would say is maybe it's not a better way. Maybe it's just an alternative way to experience freedom.
Ooh.
Because I think when people are playing Grand Theft Auto, I mean, San Andreas, I'm a San Andreas guy. So when you think about, okay, I want the freedom to experience my inner darkness, the darkness that's not interested in playing by all the rules. Let me play San Andreas. And then when you want to have something more artifact based, maybe, or Tomb Raider based as black, that's when they go to that other video game, right?
Tomb Raider it's still a great game. They got new Tomb Raiders out. Assassin's Creed,
Right.
another one. I like Division 2. I'm definitely like a Wizards guy, so like Elder Scroll and Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I used to play Final Fantasy back in the day.
Oh my God! Look, let's not. I will. Boy, oh boy, we can. And then there's this game that's not on the top of my tongue right now, but basically, there's a guy by the name of Ryder, and you can go to planets and solar systems, and like, it's so great. Like, there's so many of them. Made by UBI, the same people that make Elder Scrolls. But it's like, man, the connection in the games that they allow you to make, that's the thing I think people have a problem with, is especially like y'all generation is not, I can't say that you're not out there being sexually deviant, but a majority of people are allowed to find themselves sexually, to whereas in my generation, we're being taught by individuals that were sexually deviant. and like Color Purple sexually deviant, and for real. And we didn't know that that's the type of people that they were. And until like right now, we're finding out that all these people through the Epstein files and all this are just deviant, like just so deviant. Like, woo, it's destructive in ways that we didn't even know.
And I'll mention this. There's a song that I made with my daughter's mom's sister, Ariel Suri, and it's called Every Scar. And when I think back to Every Scar, I name the fact that as men, we're working to overcome stuff like porn addictions. And when you combine maybe this incognito ability from the technology realm with people who have not really made any version of peace with their inner darkness, it's scary on some levels because we don't have control over what other people's healing process is versus what their intentions are. But that's where we practice.
There you go. That's that word.
Exactly, and that's where we have to. Part of my martial arts mantra is discern and decide. Like, hey, is this something I'm gonna allow Oya Irie to participate in, or no? Because she's already an anime head and she's 6. She's telling me about different animes. Dad, oh, you should watch this one. I'm like, man, see, that's why I got with your mom. I knew what I was doing from the jump because she's an anime nerd like I am, but she's even more intense. So it's like you get 2 anime nerds that make the baby, and then all of a sudden, it's like, okay,
you got somebody open to so much.
Right.
And that right there is what's so great. My son is an anime nerd and a video game nerd. So it's like one of the things that I was grateful for is my son being able to not. I never told my son not to. Like, unless it was, once again, being sexually deviant, that was one of the things that I had to tell him because that wasn't my thing. I can't say that I didn't watch porn or anything, but you wouldn't see me going off to try to have once again multiple relationships. You wouldn't. I'm not that guy that everything was based off of my sexual deviancy. My shit was I was angry, I was prideful, and I was destructive. So if it taught you, if I couldn't. I wouldn't pimp because I didn't see hurting women as a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? I know that women's biggest predator is man. I mean, if you would think that it would be like aliens or you know what I mean, like something else. But unfortunately, woman's biggest predator is man, followed by the females that don't know that they're predators, and they say things that can manipulate a woman's mind into making choices and decisions that aren't really what they want, but because it's emotionally and mentally satisfying to them at the time, because that's what women are. They love to be mentally stimulated and emotionally stimulated. So when those things are being worked together, they're like, oh yeah, this is right.
And when you combine, for me, this is the thing. I made it a point. I was going to mention this in this conversation, but I was at Nia Joy's open mic, and she's a really dope creative leader, poet, organizer, and it was her birthday this past Wednesday, and I was at her open mic, and instead of performing like some of the other artists, so Hakeem, he goes by the son Vishnu creatively, and Asha Renee, they were 2 of the featured artists that performed. And it was funny because Asha, she was like, hey, Bubba, are you going to perform? I'm like, I don't know.
Is this all part of that inner circle thing?
Yeah. Oh, well, no. This is separate.
Oh, okay.
It's different. Yeah. Nia Joy, she's her own.
Well, I mean, I know that they're their
Okay.
own.
Oh, okay.
At the same time, like, I know all of you guys. I know some of y'all know each other. Like when I was talking to you, I'd also had noticed that. Oh, I said he knows. So I'm sitting here like, because I was watching you you teach a kid martial arts.
Right.
And it led to me going through the rabbit hole of going, well, maybe there are more people that I need to be speaking with, doing more things.
She Who Won't Be Named, of course, coming next week.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Remember I told you when I close my eyes, I can see light and dark in people. Like I can see your light, and I can see the light outside and all of this stuff. But at the same time, it's like there's another type of light within this that you can see, and you go, okay, that's what that little glow is. And it used to scare the shit out of me. Like I used to be so afraid of people that had your type of light and were confident in your light and in your walk, and it would keep me from not being in that type of manner. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
But and there's two things I'll add / wrap up about that point. So on one end, we're at this beautiful open mic, and Asha kills it as always. Vishnu kills it as always. But the thing that I wanted to do was let everybody in that room have an experience with Black history, and I asked the crowd, "Hey, who knows who Carter G. Woodson is?"
Ooh.
And only one person in the back rose their hand, and he was like, "I do." And I said, "Hey, so who is Carter G. Woodson?" He said, "Carter G. Woodson was the one that helped us establish Negro History Week." And I'm like, exactly. So imagine 100 years ago from today, he was doing a grassroots, non-federal recognized anything. It was completely grassroots, and he's getting us to just honor our stories. And that was 100 years ago, 1926.
We don't recognize our power because it's always given to us to talk about in the wrong areas. We don't talk about how it was not just that we marched from Montgomery, Alabama to Washington, D.C. We helped each other from across this country get on buses. We had individuals that would let us stay at their homes at night while we continued on this journey all throughout. Brother Jeff helped put together people to go be part of the Million Man March from Colorado, and we don't think about how much grassroots movement that took. We're in the entertainment section, since you were talking about all the groups that you were talking about. At the same time, Tyler Perry, as I was telling you, has a movie out called Joe's College Road Trip on Netflix. Y'all know I'm a Netflix junkie. Y'all know I'm a Crunchyroll junkie. I am not too much into everybody else's crap because everybody else is trying to feed us a whole lot of bullshit. I'm not really a Tyler Perry fan, okay? This I'm going to be honest with.
Shout out Hologram Kizzy. She mentions that.
I am a fan of this movie, though, because I was one of those parents that put my kid into all white schools, and I wish I could have put my son into a black school where he could have felt comfortable being around other people that were also able to openly be themselves and explore life. How do you think that affects our children in today's times? I don't know if you've seen this movie yet, but I do recommend this movie. And if you think about putting our children around children that don't look like us, do you think that it builds a form of self-loathing that we didn't psychologically see because they see more of everybody saying that's beautiful than we do seeing us as beautiful or things like that?
That's a very unique question, and it's complicated because it really tends to go back to the household. For me, I thought I had everything planned out. It's like I advocated for Responsive Arts STEAM Academy, which is located in Green Valley Ranch, to be opened as a school a few years ago. Thank you to Yuzo for helping to make sure that that school got open. And that's
You are really active, my guy.
thank you.
No, thank you. For real, like it's
yeah. So
coming from the destructive. Once again, like I appreciate it. Go ahead.
yeah. So I thought I had this plan, right? Buy a home in Green Valley Ranch. We're right down the street from Rasa, and allow my daughter to have the opportunity to be in a school that is focused on the arts, because her mother was a professionally trained ballet artist, hip hop dancer, like all of these creative arts. And it's like, okay, if I know that from a genetic standpoint, we've co-created this child who's going to be a natural artist, right? So let's make sure that she has access to the arts. However, when I fail in my roles as a husband and as a father figure and all of these things, it now makes the household disconnected. And now the court system is siding with her mother, which naturally, I do believe a daughter is going to be very much in her feminine nature when she's around her mother more often. And although it broke my heart to not have access to my daughter in the same ways, I made the decisions I made that led to that. So I'm at peace with what it is. It's just now she's attending Dora Moore, which is it's very mixed, but there's more white instructors, and I have to think about what does it mean to try to plant seeds, whether it's seeds with her mother or seeds within my daughter. That's like, okay, this is the type of time that you're always going to be, Oya. Like yes, you're going to Dora Moore. Yes, there's a lot of white people, but I'm going to take you to a struggle of love event every single year. You're going to be around the struggle of love. You're going to be against families against violent acts. You're going to be with every black organization, inner center, or, you know what I'm saying, inner circle, all of it.
I totally understand, because we grew up with like things like black is beautiful, white is funky. If you don't believe me, go ask a honky. Like, we used to say things like that and think that it was just okay, but we didn't think about how destructive it was to other cultures to hear that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it was like, man, we need to think about how beautiful we are as black people. Like,
oh, it's funny because I started making a song, "Black is Beautiful."
Look, I was listening to that earlier. But at the same time, like in Boys in the Hood, like, I don't know if you remember the beginning of Boys in the Hood. They're like, I ain't no African, you are African, you African booty scratcher. Like, we didn't realize how we were taught to be destructive against our own.
Right.
Not because not because we are, but just in general, there's people that is their natural state. Like, you know, there's a statement that I just heard Dante Kyle. I don't know if you pay attention to the Grits and Eggs podcast or seeing anybody. Okay, he made the statement that white people's rebellion is joy, because they live in misery. And it's like, man, I didn't think about that, because they anything that's miserable, they'll jump on board real quick and be like, but when it comes to joy, they be like, oh, you need to calm all that down. You need to, you know what I mean? You don't need to be all that happy. Like, oh my gosh.
I gotta look at this real quick.
And it's so hilarious that you said that. So we're gonna close out here.
I'm just looking at one thing. So yeah, that to your point, right? The Substack article that I sent you, when crazy hippies pray and protest, right? It's like white people do the same things as black people. We just have slight modifications, right? If you think about white people resisting with joy, that's what black boy joy is. That's what black girl magic is.
Yeah.
So it's that's what made Dr. King so great, and that's why some white people didn't understand Malcolm, but all the black people understood Malcolm. We're like, hey, we're joyful, but we're angry. And what happens when you just combine? Yeah, you're joyful and you're angry. Yeah, me too. Okay, well, let's come together and do something about it.
Yes, and not complain about. One of the things I tell people all the time, though, I'm not gonna lie to you, white men are easier to convince to not be racist than white women, because a lot of white males have to be around black men to win championships. Period, point blank. If you're a football player and your team was a championship team this year, you had more black people on that team than other folks on the team, and you had to work together as a team. You had to put all your pride, your anger, your greed, your lust, your envy, your sloth, and your gluttony all to the side, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, to go, this is what we are here for. And that's called knowing. That's not, some people call it, oh, they're so, we need to separate what knowing and what arrogance is. Arrogance is when you just believe, when you're a self-believing individual of something that is completely delusional, not healthy delusional like Mike Epps' stand-up, but just completely delusional. And that's something that guys can do, is be completely delusional about some shit. But when you know your purpose and you're walking in your purpose, that is called knowing. And when you are all knowing that you are going to the championship, that is a great thing, because all of y'all are fighting to become champions.
And to that point, I have to do my Raider thing. This wasn't really planned to wear a Raiders thing during the interview, but
my dad
welcome,
was a Raiders fan.
Welcome to the dark side, Clint Kubiak. And it sounds like maybe Fernando Mendoza. I hope that we do the right thing on draft day.
All right, look. Here we go, my guy. From the peace roots in Montbello to the living power stations in the Congo, the message is clear. The future is now. Bubba Peace, before we sign off, what is the one action, the one vibration Denver needs to hold on to for the rest of this week to truly be Wakanda in real life? Good question, right?
Thank God for everything.
Amen, amen. Amen, amen. Bubba, I want to thank you. It's been a pleasure. I did not know that it was going to be this good. I was expecting it to be a good conversation, but good and exceptional are so very far and few. Man, you have made this a very great conversation. I appreciate everybody that joins in every week for my conversations. I do want to apologize to Kenyatta Algie. Last week we recorded, and they set up a system to where if you do not unmute the mic video, you won't have video. You won't have audio for the video. So we had this whole conversation with the mics muted. Nobody joined in and was like, hey, I can't hear anything. Like, nobody said anything. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So in general, this is live. Normally, this one was pre-recorded, just letting folks know. But normally we're live, and there are things that happen. My director was not here. I'm normally with the director who's controlling this for me, switching the we normally have angles, switching the angles. Shout out Jameer. There was a health scare. He was in the prayers. But thank you for joining me again. I appreciate this. I love being able to give people their kudos and giving them an opportunity to reach a whole nother group of people in the Mile High City that didn't know that you were there, and now they know you're here, from ages 20 all the way up to 65. We need to start giving everybody their props. As I said, I'm learning to grow through all these conversations, and I appreciate people saying, I'll join you in this conversation. This is where conversation rules the nation. Action speaks louder than words. Y'all have a great rest of your day and enjoy whatever you're doing. Enjoy. I'm your host, Chris Diggins. This is Black Conscious Convo. This is
Bubba Peace.
Holla at your boy.
This for the people, that voice that you can speak to. Something you can vibe to when you know trouble sees you. Something that can equal to soaring like an eagle. No more gasoline, baby, yeah, pouring the diesel. This might be the cure to cure up your heart disease. Or it may be the cure to befriend all your enemies. Something to make you cry. Here, you can use my sleeve. Put your head on my shoulder. Yeah, you can cry to me. Listen to every word and show my sympathy. You a hummingbird, well, hum like it's meant to be. Standing on the curb, yeah, this for 4OC. And now I bet you heard that they've been a friend to me. Count on every word that I'm speaking to you is true. God showed me love, and honestly, I'm the fool for not listening to his teachers, teaching us how to reach us, showing them how to beat them, and listening to his preachers. For the people that don't know how to sing, I'ma represent for the people who don't have a thing. I'ma be that bell that rings to get your angel wings, and I'ma do it for the people by any means. This for the people that don't know how to sing. I'ma represent for the people who don't have a thing. I'ma be that bell that rings to get your angel wings, and I'ma do it for the people by any means. Now I keep having this dream, I'm falling high to the sky, and it kinda feels like a mother rebirthing a child. It says caution, like I shouldn't be seeing what's next. Like a father seeing his daughter on girls go wild. So I close my eyes and pray to God that I don't see it. I hit the ground, wake up sweating like seeing demons. The reflection in the mirror was of me screaming. Then I hear a voice and see myself as seeming. Yes, I hear a pop, and then 9 months is up. Is that my baby or me, baby? I don't know what's up. Look, it's me, I can see my hands and feet. Thankful for the Lord, for my life, I could breathe. Now I see what I was brought into this world to be. For the ones that need a speaker, God gave me the gift to speak. This is for the people as well as it is for me. So together we can soar individually. This for the people that don't know how to sing. I'ma represent for the people who don't have a thing. I'ma be that bell that rings to get your angel wings, and I'ma do it for the people by any means. This for the people that don't know how to sing. I'ma represent for the people who don't have a thing. I'ma be that bell that rings to get your angel wings, and I'ma do it for the people by any means. Congratulations, thank you for really waiting. It's been a long time, and you've been very patient. Now I'm here to give you your own standing ovation. I work for y'all, so I'm thankful for my occupation. For the Christians, look up at God, get on your knees and thank him. And for the smokers, forgive me, Lord, roll up and place them. And for the hungry, we coming and we got food to take them. And for the homeless, we got buildings, they ready to make them. This for the hustlers, copper pie if you can bake them. And for the buses, if you can, by all means, shake them. Embrace the haters, without them, you know we be Nathan. Don't be scared of they Freddy's, look, we found Jason. We ain't stopping, that's why I say this is for you. And you can trust us to do it, I know that much is true. And for the people, I give my heart to show us proof. That will be there for you when the sky streets. We in the booth right now. We just trying to show y'all we love y'all. We love the streets. That's what we do. That's what we do. This for you. This for the people. This for everybody can eat right here. This for everybody's theme song. When you feel bad, you're at home alone, you sad for some reason, what reason at all? You pop this in, listen. It is for you. Just let you know that we coming and y'all coming. We coming together. We gonna fly individually. I'm telling y'all, it's the cure right here. It's the cure of cancer. I